Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and this is a weird angle for us to film by. And if you really pay close attention to our videos, you would notice that this is our FB70 wall from the TGR racks. And you'd also say, well Matt, there used to be an FB40 rack right here. You're right, it has moved across the wall. We'll show you that in a bit. So we're kind of trying to go to the next phase of building out the room. This is not the last phase, but it'll probably be the last one for, I don't know, other than baby racks for a year or two. So where I'm standing right now is in what we hoped would be the footprint of a new Proline series Freedom Breeder rack. And as you can see, it is going to be, because this is the first frame piece. So as we test fit the first frame piece, once we got everything ready, we have found that it is going to fit. So in this space here soon, there is going to be a rack of 30 animals. Caleb and I have spent all morning rearranging the room. Okay, that's not really true. We spent most of the morning watching K-State basketball. And then we spent a little bit of time rearranging this room. By the way, great wins to the Wildcats for beating those Pokes. And after that, it's time to now do building. Our hope is to get this thing built in a day, show you what it looks like, what our impressions are of putting this together. The Proline series is basically the hybrid version of the Freedom Breeder series. So you're going to have a lot of parts to assemble. It comes on its own pallet, and I'll give you a breakdown of what we paid and everything, including shipping costs, once we build it and what our impressions are of just building it. Obviously, it's really hard. People want to review these racks all the time. You know, I'm not going to give you a full-blown rack review when this is done, just the impression of building it. I have a high amount of faith in this rack. I mean, the company's been around forever. They do a great job. The reason I don't think doing a rack review the minute you build it makes a lot of sense is because, well, have you really used it? If we're going to give you a review on a product, we're going to give you a review on a product like rack we've used, which we did with TGR. We used them for a very, very long time. I still really like those racks, but guess what? You can't get them anymore. So we're going to go to the metal racks. And we're at a point now where buying one of these or two of these is, we're able to do that without taking food out of my family's mouth, without taking anything away from what I do. As a matter of fact, I don't even do it. My animals do it, and then they still have money set aside for emergencies and everything else, like a normal business would run. So we're able to do that, so we'll probably continue to do that for the rest of our stuff. Caleb, any questions on the intro?
Nope.
Are you ready to play Bob the Builder?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes. It's going to take a lot longer for us, but we're coming right back. All right, guys, so Caleb and I have been working really hard to build this, and it took us about, well, no time at all for you, but we had a few struggles. We're getting there. So we're probably about a third of the way done. We have put together 4 shelves, as you can see. The tubs slide nice and easy. I mean, look at this pinky finger. That's one of the best things I'll say so far. We did get the full-blown Freedom Breeder experience. We did not, I mean, going the Pro line does save you money from the standard. But we went ahead and got the locking casters. For our floor, they kind of suck ass. If you had a carpet or something, it'd be great. But our floor's damn slick with the wood. They just slide when the wheels are locked. Casters do their job. The wheels lock. It's more of an us problem than a system problem. A few things. We did get the, just so we'd have everything ready when we went to build it, the Freedom Breeder branded mallet. It works. It is not the hammer of Thor, but it does get the job done. No problems there. We also got the Freedom Breeder branded rivet gun. Okay, guys, you can just go to Harbor Freight and get some better shit than this. This thing's a piece of shit. It is getting it done, but it is a piece of shit. I had to rebuild it twice, but it is working, so there is that. So what have we done so far? Well, we got the 4 levels. We've got the heat. All that looks wonderful. Once you kind of get the hang of it, we'd be a lot farther along. We took some time. We watched the videos, you know, on how they've been doing it. So I'm not going to really go over how to build it because that's already out there, and I probably can't do a better job of explaining it than Freedom Breeder does. It's their damn product. So what I can tell you is I am not mechanically inclined, and I could stumble through this. So that's pretty good news. If you know, Caleb's probably not the most mechanically inclined either, and he could stumble through this. And together we're stumbling through it quite well. We did get kind of the Cadillac version. Like I said, we got the locking casters. I really recommend that, even though for us it's really not making a huge difference. We also got these tables that pull out. Whoop! So what you'll be able to do is, as more levels are built here, you'll be able to slide this out until it stops, have a workspace. You can set a tub there. So like if you pull a tub all the way out, voila, need a place to put it. This is ingenious. This is something that I really wanted. This is what pushed me to the Freedom Breeder rack over other brands when I was looking for a new rack system this go around. You know, there's really not anybody building the old XPVC style as much anymore that I'm familiar with. I love my old XPVC racks, you know, but back in the day, when I'm first starting out with not a dime to my name, I wasn't going to be able to afford to go and buy something like this. And that's where those came in, you know, really, really handy. Now, obviously, we can do that, and so we elected to do it. That does not mean I'm going to go on a tirade and switch everything out. Well, these are working perfectly fine, and we're going to keep using them. We are going to go through and check the heats and do some rebuilds and make sure everything's working fine, using this to hold before we expand with more snakes. We are going to go through and do that. But so far, I'm pretty happy. One thing I can tell you, though, for those of you who are vertically challenged, one thing to think about with these is that we added the table. It only adds a couple inches. It doesn't really add much height. So no big deal there. But I want you to look at a comparison. I know these things, the fronts are all dirtier than hell because I don't really care about the fronts, care about what's inside. But we are about the midway point right now. Slightly over because the table would have been slightly under if we didn't. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means by the time this thing gets done, it's going to be here. It is going to be a full level taller. So do keep that in mind. You know, it's going to be a little high for me. I'm going to have to pull those out and look at them, and it's going to make something more of a pain in the ass. But all in all, I am really happy. A big part of that height difference too, y'all, is the casters. I mean, we're starting up higher off the floor. One thing I can tell you too is that if you do drop a road, that's going to allow it to run underneath there. It does on my other racks too. I like the stuff that's got it all the way down the floor, preferably. You know, but that's just me. So anyway, that is something to think about. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy. Caleb, what do you think about this whole thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with it. I had some concerns that we kind of discussed before with the plastic, but really, now we've got it together, I'm not that concerned at all.
I almost wish it was screws rather than rivets to be my only thing, but
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the rivets are cheaper, so we probably can go that route. Just because the screws, I can send it zit, 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 but then they have to drill the holes and have them all, so I get why they didn't do that. So, you know, this will work really, really well, though. So that's where we're at. So we're going to shut this down and go back to building and then come back and show you the finished product. I will tell you now, before we get there, that one thing that has happened, so you're going to see it if we put it in there, is they did short us 4 tubs, right? And I'm pretty sure what happens, they probably make a stack of 15, then wrap another stack of 15 and ship a stack of 30. They made a stack of 13, made a second stack of 13s to equal the height, not counting the second one, and shipped them out. So I will have to contact Freedom Breeder. I'm sure they'll take care of it, so I don't have a lot of concern about that. I mean, I'm sure when I show them, hey, pictures and everything else, they'll send out 4 tubs. The reason we haven't contacted them already at the time of filming this is because I didn't want to contact, say, hey, I'm missing 4 tubs, then come to find out I'm missing, you know, a few other pieces here, and I have to make them ship twice. I wanted to get everything built and make sure that we were only missing just the tubs before we contact them and say, hey, we're missing parts, so we could give them a full list of everything. And I'm pretty sure it'll be just the tubs, but we're going to find that out as we build. Anything else, Caleb, right now?
Nope.
All right, guys, stay tuned. We're going to show you this full thing all done as best as we can get. And through the magic of editing, we are done. So we don't have all the tubs, like so we are missing 4, no big deal. One thing I've got to point out right away, well, there's 2 things. But the first thing I want to point out is I told you with our floor, the casters really didn't matter much. At that point in time, we were built about here. And now with more weight and more things added, look at that. I mean, I can still pull it if I really want to, but they do make a big difference. So I retract my earlier saying they didn't really make a difference on the wood floor. They certainly do. As far as fit goes, fits like a glove. We got about 3 or 4 inches of space over there, and that's it, that's being generous, which was kind of what we knew. So really happy with the fit of how this is going to finish off this wall. So the pros and cons. Con is one of them. We'll do the cons first. You got to build the damn thing yourself. That's a pain in the ass. Also, it is going to be taller. Even if you took out this shelf, you're not saving much, like I said. So if having I am 6'2". I know I've got some in here. Here's one. I'm 6'2", okay? So if that would bother you, at 6'2", not that it's going to hit you in the head, but that's above your head. You can't see in it, you know, something to kind of keep in mind. If you're shorter in nature, it's maybe even a bigger challenge. So that is something to go with, you know, but part of that is the shelf. and part of that is the big ass casters. If you took the casters and you took the shelf out, you honestly would be pretty close to this. You know, because that's adding probably, I mean, a good chunk of lift there. So, you know, but it is something there. One of the other cons is I like to use those as a shelf for storage. You can't do that here because you're going to start pressing down on this. Probably not the best of ideas. So you're not going to be able to use this for storage up top. Now, could I set something across there like a piece of plywood and use it for storage? Yeah, I probably could. I mean, I could rig something up. But that's the only other con. What are the pros? One, slides like a dream. I love that. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to set it here with a good amount of weight. I'm putting pretty good pressure on there now. No issue. So I like that. I like how sturdy it is. You know, I can't really pop it out. So I like that. So as far as the rack goes, I really like it. You know, and again, I said we're not going to review how it works because we're not really using it yet. We just set it up. We did test all of the heat functions. They all work really nice. So that's really cool. I do like the fact that out of 30 tubs, I have 10 plugs. Where on these other ones, out of 30 plugs, that have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually have less plugs, I guess. But I have only 10 heat panels, I guess, for 30 tubs is what I'm trying to say. Whereas here they're daisy chained, and for 30 tubs I have 30 individual heat panels. That's more failure points, so I do kind of like this heat system. I can tell you already better. Put it together, once you get the hang of it, guys, it's not that bad. These shelves, I'd already recommend them. We usually put them together. Thing is, you can stick them wherever you want. So if you want them lower, you can have them lower. If you want them higher, you can have them higher. They just insert in between a row. We put them here because here or the next one up would have been my choice, which would have been right here. The thing is, this is probably a little low, but when you open it, when you pull this tub out, you sit there to work the snake, water dishes you're grabbing, everything is right there. And it's right there where I don't have to bend or anything like that to deal with it. That also means Kurt isn't, because we're a little bit different than height, he's able to work here comfortably too if he's needing to do it. So it's kind of going to work well for everybody. So that's kind of why we went with that. No matter where you slide that in, they just slide easy. So all in all, I'm really, really happy. I'm excited to get to use this. Caleb and I did get it built in probably 5 hours total. So I know Jesse did a video and he did it in 2 hours. We took our time. That 5 hours includes kind of bullshit a little bit. Watched a lot of that video. We don't have a big warehouse to have all our materials right there around the pallet, so the pallet was broken down. We were able to move stuff from upstairs to downstairs and whatnot. Really counting parts and taking our time to make sure we didn't screw anything up. We did make a screw up that I did want to point out. If you were watching really close, and this would have been a multiple hour screw up, how we not caught it as soon as we turned the camera off. When you show it the first time, and if you missed it, go back and look. I pulled this shelf out. What you see now, if you really look back in there, is really nothing. You're seeing just like this. What you would have seen before is a heat panel, right? And I don't need to heat these damn shelves. So a heat panel wouldn't have made any sense to be there. So we were able to remove that heat panel and put it where it really needed to be. So basically we had a heat panel on this, which we don't need one. We have the heat panel here now, here. So we caught it, we figured it out. Thank God we hadn't put this whole fucking thing together and then figured that out, because
I'd have said that's a tomorrow problem.
We'd have just walked away, yeah. And that wasn't, I mean, that was on us. That was just brain farting, and you kind of get in the realm. Overall, I'm really happy with it. You know, you start doing the math. I mean, I think I spent, I don't know, I want to say it was like $2,700 on this rack. There was no discounts, nothing like that. We just paid. And you think, okay, that's my goal is to spend under $100 in enclosure. You also had a lot of shipping on top of that. I want to say the shipping to my location was about $6.50, give or take a little bit. So all told, I'm probably around $3,400 deep on this, give or take $100 one or the other. That's a lot of money. You know, I know for when I first started, that was an unachievable amount of money. For many today, it's still an unachievable amount of money. But if you work it through and you reinvest what you make from doing this, it's easily achievable down the road for you. Do I feel like I got my $3,400 worth? Well, let's talk about that. So I'm going to have 30 cages, right? So it's not quite $100 a cage. But this thing is going to last forever. There's no glue on it. It's all steel. I mean, you have some plastic parts, but the base is all steel. And if you do run into a problem, these are really easily replaceable. So yeah, I mean, you know, plus I got workspace. And guys, workspace is worth its weight in gold. You know, and it's a good size workspace if I need it. If I wouldn't have jumped on all those extra things, I probably could have got it down to right at that $100 in enclosure that I wanted to be at. But I spent a little extra for the bells and whistles, including, I mean, I even had them go ahead and send me a power strip, which actually is a really nice power strip, so I'm glad I did. It has more plugs if I wanted to use, you know, for not kind of use, but that works great. So that's everything included. Yeah, I think I got my money's worth. I'm really happy with it. I think the quality is really, really good from what I can tell, and I anticipate it working really, really well, which you'd expect. You know, that's the one thing. If I'm buying something from Freedom Breeder or like ARS, those two companies have been doing this for so long, I expect it to be perfect. You know, my expectation is that this product works flawlessly. You know, my expectation is that it excels. And if it doesn't excel, there's a damn problem. But I don't have a doubt. I'm pretty confident in what we got. All the welds, you know, I'm not a welder, but they all look pretty good and strong. So that's also nice to see. Doesn't look too janky on that. I mean, that's a really good weld there, where I can look at. I don't know. No qualms other than my back sore. Okay, anything you want to add?
Nope.
So if you guys are thinking about going with the proline, you will save yourself some money over the traditional. What's the difference? Plastic. Okay, do the traditional, get mostly metal. Some of the things that are going to be plastic here is instead of these fit locking with metal, they fit lock with a little plastic block. You can see some of the shavings out there. I didn't clean them all off. No big deal. Plastic clips here instead of metal clips. Do you really care if your clip is made of plastic or metal? I fucking don't. The runners are going to be plastic. I tell you, that plastic on plastic slides like it's on ball bearings. I actually kind of think I've used racks that are metal on metal at places I've worked at before. And I'll tell you what, I'd take this in a heartbeat. I honestly would. I mean, I can't tell you how just easily that literally slides. I mean, it's amazing. So yeah, but you are gonna have some plastic parts. That's what you're saving for your money. See, yay! Now that can heat. All right, so Caleb, see there is a gear there. Yeah, we didn't screw it up. Woohoo! All right, anything you want to add about these racks?
Nope.
All right, guys, we're going to get out of here, and we're going to slide over to Patreon, and we're going to talk about where this puts us in the long term of our room, along with the total of additions that we've done this year to our infrastructure. We always preach about infrastructure being important, and I'll stand by it 100%, no matter what anybody else wants to tell you. If you don't invest in the infrastructure of what you're doing, the rest can crumble pretty easy. This is where you really want to, and that doesn't mean you've got to have this or the most expensive things out there, right? But it means if you're not ready for what you're doing from an infrastructure base, you know, I can't hold back 30 more adult females or, you know, plan on that if I don't have space for them. I was full up. If I want to continue to grow, I have to get these. I have to get this before it's time for me to fill it. That's the way you have to do it. Like, you know, I see people sometimes buy animals and then try to figure out the caging or the housing later on or the rat costs later on. You can't do that from a business standpoint. You have to know what your overhead's going to be and what your infrastructure growth is going to be and plan for that in order to do this, which is literally what we did. This is money we didn't put in our pocket. Instead, we put in our business, right? And that's what you're going to use to build your infrastructure. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.